St. Louis, Montreal, 57-58. I'll tell you how it's playing out for Montreal right now. They're looking darn good since they got Carey Price back. I mean, it just keeps on rolling along here for this Montreal Canadiens team. -110, about an even money priced team here tonight. Montreal on home ice, total 5.5, shaded to the under. And look, what can you say about Montreal? 5 straight wins. Now you beat up a hapless, moribund Detroit team the last couple games. You scored 16 goals in 2 games against them, 6-3 and 10-1. Let's see how you do now, stepping up in class a little bit here against the St. Louis Blues. But maybe they're catching St. Louis at the right time. I mean, the St. Louis 3 straight losses against Anaheim, LA, and Minnesota, 2 goals or less. In all 3 of those games, the offense has dried up a little bit. When that's the one thing the Blues have been doing pretty well this season is scoring goals, and it's not been as easy for them in recent games to put the biscuit in the basket here. Overtime loss the other night to Minnesota by a score of 2-1. Even though they're still pelting shots on net. I mean, 39, 40, 42 shots on goal for St. Louis the last 3 games. So they're getting those shots toward the net. It's just not paying off for them right now. That's been the big issue. The only goal was a Patrick Berglund power play goal the other night. But it seems like this offensive drought, and Alex alluded to it, I believe, on the last show, sort of coincided with a little Braden Shen cold streak here for the St. Louis Blues. And it seems like, hey, we're going to go as Braden Shen goes. And actually, that's the way it was early on in the year for St. Louis. It seemed like when they were putting up so many of those great offensive numbers and winning games left and right, a lot of it was because Braden Shen was just absolutely fantastic for them in terms of offensive production. It's not necessarily been that way here for the St. Louis Blues as of late. So, it's one of those situations where I've said it before on the show. When it's a team that's on a winning streak, I'm not really inclined to fade them. When it's a team on a losing streak, it's not a team I'm inclined to bet on. So, with a streaking team like Montreal here, I'm not exactly in a rush to go against them, especially with a Blues team that's in a little bit of a funk right now. I should point out, though, the one concern I would have with backing Montreal tonight is St. Louis has dominated this team quite a bit in recent years, 8-3 in the last 11 meetings. They've won each of the last 3 meetings as well, dating back to January of 2016. So St. Louis has had a good run against Montreal head-to-head, but I'm not exactly inclined to put my stock into that here tonight because Montreal is playing good. They are scoring goals right now. At least they did against Detroit in 2 games. Let's see how they can do here tonight against Jake Allen and the Blues. I'd lean Montreal, but I'm going to stay off it. Andrew McInnes is involved with the Blues and the Habs tonight. Hey, Montreal's his team. Is he going homer, or is he going to fade them here with the St. Louis Blues? Andrew, what are you looking at?
Yeah, first of all, I'll just have to start off by saying, I'm really impressed with the performance they're putting up, but not only that, but just the depth that we're seeing from the Canadians finally, not just those same few guys. When you have a game where you put up 10 goals, hopefully it's a couple different guys at least getting up on the board. So great performance there against the Red Wings, but not the biggest accomplishment, but it's good to see. And, one other thing I have to mention is that all the media right now giving all the respect, all the attention to Claude Julien, saying, they're finally buying into his system. They're kind of finally listening to him. That's kind of a load of BS to me. I do like Julian, but I have to give a lot of credit to Gallagher and Pacioretty and Paul Byron and all those guys that are really stepping up their game and providing their team with some offense that they've desperately needed. But Ian, like you said, you're always talking about different opportunities where you wouldn't want to bet on a team that's been losing a lot. You wouldn't want to fade a team that's been winning a lot. I understand that, but looking at this game, I think St. Louis had a tremendous start to their season, whereas the Habs kind of had a shaky start. So they're kind of reversing roles right now. And so I am going to look over the total in this one because I think that in the past couple of games, St. Louis has underachieved. And I think right now there's no question that when the Habs are rolling, they're rolling. And I'm not going to stop right now with them. I don't see any point in going under the total. That's for sure with this Habs team right now. Maybe about 6 or 7 games ago, I would have liked to have said that. But look, as far as the side goes, I mean, I think that by no means at this -110 line, I think that the Habs are going to take care of business tonight. 1-4 straight up in their last 5 for St. Louis, 5-0 in their last 5 are the Habs, and not only just that, but the amount of shots they're getting, they're really just taking care of business. And I think that their over trend for the Habs is more powerful than the under trend right now for St. Louis, and St. Louis is desperately looking for goals right now. So to me, it's just a straight play where St. Louis is looking for goals, and the Habs are rolling right now. So I'm leaning to the Habs side, but I think this game will fly over the total in the middle of the second period, guys. Should be a good one to watch.
All right, over the total for Andrew in this St. Louis and Montreal game. And I'll tell you who I like the way he's playing right now is Brendan Gallagher for the Montreal Canadiens. Really good. I mean, the 13 goals, 6 assists on the season. I mean, he's been fantastic lately for the Montreal Canadiens. Can we just strip the C off Pacioretty and give it to Gallagher already? Come on. I mean, how can anyone not sit there and say this guy is better captain's material than Pacioretty? Come on. He gets his nose dirtier. He goes to the tough areas of the ice, puts his nose right in there, gets right in the goalie's grill. Tries to throw him off his game. He's just a small little guy, too, Brendan Gallagher. He's not the next coming of Frankenstein or anything. He's not a very big man, Brendan Gallagher. So from that standpoint, to see him, just night in and night out, the compete levels there with Brendan Gallagher. That's what I like. I'd put the damn captaincy on him on Montreal, but that's not my decision, unfortunately. Although I feel some teams in sports should be thinking like me because they don't think as
Well,
well. But that's
Ian,
another story.
I think the fact is that before he used to be just kind of that like gritty guy that was a hardworking guy, and you could just say, he gets into the dirty areas and stuff like that, and just scores those tap ins by the net. But now he's actually proven that he can, he can roof that puck up where grandma keeps the cookies, and he can kind of do that kind of magnificent stuff and have some good plays. So he's not just doing the little tap ins around the net and just getting to those dirty areas. He's actually making plays, looking like a pretty big first line player for second line player out there. He's actually looking like a accountable scorer for this team right now.
Yeah, like the Rick Jenneret reference there. Top shelf where mama hides the cookies. Exactly. He does that all the time when the Sabres scores. But yeah, I agree. I mean, he's got better finishing ability, Brendan Gallagher, than he's given credit for. We've seen that. He's got a decent to good release, and we've seen it on display the last couple of games for sure.
Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to our channel. Now, we've put a lot of work into producing all these free videos, so please help us out and keep all our content free for you forever by simply liking, sharing, commenting, and subscribing. Now, not to mention, a visit to our industry-leading website will warm the hearts of all our SBR employees, especially myself. Now, the links are over there to the left, so do check those out. Thanks for watching.